Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. It is MariahFang. Thank you all so much for subscribing, following, and liking. I was not expecting all these comments and all these subscribers already, so I couldn't make this possible without you guys, so thank you so much for following and just interacting with my videos. It really means a lot. The last video that was kind of just boosted everything into proportion for future videos was the blackout tattoo. It was conversation about how I got this and why I got it. If you ever want to check that out, it should be in one of these things. I don't know, somewhere down there. But if you want to continue watching on how to get an apprenticeship, keep watching. So a little backstory, I first started tattooing back in, I think it was 2016 or 2017? No, it was a long time ago, but it was about 3 years of like on and off tattooing is what I did. And the first year, you're never going to make enough money. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I'm not trying to get your hopes up or anything that you'll make money as soon as possible. There is ways to do that, but let's kind of like prepare ourselves, and that's why I made this video, so that way you can be a little bit mentally prepared before you go in and just decide a shop that you see out of the blue. So kind of want to like reiterate that things are not all glitz and glam. It will be, but it's just not all the time. I'm gonna admit that straight off the bat there. When I started my journey, I never made that much money, and I was not really taught how to do it properly to go into a tattoo shop. It was just kind of given to me, and I just chose what was nearest to me right away. I realized that I should have had more info before I just dove right in, but I was so desperate to get a tattoo apprenticeship. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be great, this is gonna be amazing. 'Twas almost not amazing. I will admit that. Tattooing does take a couple years of patience and learning how your niche works a little bit and how you interact with people, and it takes a little bit of a learning curve. But before I chose this apprenticeship, I feel like I was not as smart than I am now. I know a lot now, and I just want to kind of give this information to you guys. A little disclaimer, this is just all suggestions. These are not like you have to do this. These are just things that I feel helped me realizing some things that maybe it would help you realize in the beginning, so you're not just stuck in a place where you don't really want to do tattoo work for these people, or like just the environment is not good. So let's begin. Before you find a tattoo apprenticeship or even think about wanting to get one in the first place, remember this is a huge commitment and you can always opt out at any time, but the thing with it is that you have to worry about clientele, and how are you going to tell them that you're not going to do it anymore, or like if you plan on dipping out for a little bit and you're jumping back in. Like there's a lot of factors that go into play. This is not 100% the guidebook on how to get an apprenticeship. This is just more of a, I will teach you some things that I know, and you can go get this information from other people too, and they'll tell you their input as well. The first steps to getting an apprenticeship is making sure that you have a really good portfolio. If this is something that you really want, you've been thinking about this for longer than 6 months, by all means, start getting a portfolio together, get your drawings, get your paintings, get your any kind of mediums that are a form of art out there into a portfolio that is digitized or somewhere on a social media platform where other people can take a look at it. Via Instagram, Facebook is not really so much of a platform anymore, and I don't think Instagram is going to be there as well in the near future. I could be wrong. I've been hearing about TikTok notes and then not having TikTok, so I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen for the future platforms, but always stay up to date. Be a bit social media savvy, only because it's really important. If you want your work to go out there, you have to make sure that it's digitized of some sort, and making sure that you have connections to interact with clients and have a email that is separate from your personal and is a work email. Usually tattoo artists are not going to want one physical media that they can look at. For example, if you have all just color pencil drawings, they're not going to want to just look at that. Nor do they want to look at just tablet drawings that you've done on a tablet. They want you to make sure that you are very well informed on how ink works, so watercolor is a huge staple. Definitely work with anything that has some kind of pigment to water ratio so you can understand the dynamics of how ink works. And of course, I know this is going to sound really lame, and I'm sorry I have to bring it up, but if you keep getting compliments all the time from your peers saying, oh, this is great, or if your mother says, oh, this is great work, congratulations, that artist is not going to have the same opinion as your mother. So try to keep it a little diverse and get some hard feedback from people. If a painting does suck, make sure that your friend tells you that it does kind of suck or it needs something a little bit different. Like, you got to understand that harsh criticism is a part of, well, harsh constructive criticism, not where someone bashes you and says, oh, your work sucks, and then just on their day. If they have positive feedback, as in, you know, this could work a little bit more, like maybe the eye is too big and the other one is smaller, like try to kind of tell them like, hey, this one is like way out of proportion compared to the other, or whatever just doesn't look right. Make sure you give positive feedback and be like, hey, dude, give me positive feedback on this and actually tell me if it's lame or not, and actually if I should fix something. In art, everyone has a different perception of how things are beautiful. Yeah, things are going to be different from yours compared to your neighbors, so make sure that you really just get the dynamics that yes, you are going to have your tattoo criticized, just as you are going to have your art criticized. It doesn't matter how good it is, someone always has something to say. So get used to the ups and downs and tattoo positive, like this is great, this doesn't look great. So try to keep it like 75% good, 25% could use a little bit more work. We don't want no pencil drawings on people, but I guess some people like that, so I don't know. Everyone has a weird niche these days, and it's okay to be different and stand out. So have a niche is one of those as well. If you have a certain thing that you really love to do, emphasize that. Hey, I like to do black work, I like to do neo-traditional, or I like to do traditional, or I like to do realism. Just something that shows that you are unique and different compared to everybody else in the playing field, because everyone has a different style and unique style that some people want, some people don't want, but to each their own. Everyone has a different art style. Oh my god, do I have to go to art school for this? No, you don't have to have an art degree. I've known plenty of people that have stenciled their way into the industry, and they are just stencilers, where they basically just create one design, or they see a design that someone wants and they alter it, and they make sure they get an A-OK from the other artist that it's okay to use that image. By the way, don't condone art stealing, don't do it, it's not fun, it's not cool, and it's gonna ruin your reputation, so don't do it. However, most of the time you're gonna be stenciling, and you're gonna have to learn the theory of highlights, shadows, hues and tones, and different ways of the color wheel. The color wheel is something we all have to learn because our eyes perceive a lot different than from your neighbors. Some people may see reds as more gray tone, as sometimes some people are colorblind to certain colors, especially with blues, and sometimes with dark shades or even red or greens. It's just the dynamic of how humans are. Yes, not everybody sees the same thing that you do, and it's very different to get that past certain people's heads, but sometimes it has to be repeated to be understood. So the color wheel is a perfect example of where you can start your learning. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, please go look this up and try to learn a few YouTube tutorials, because it is super, super important if you want to be a tattoo apprentice. You have to learn the color wheel. I highly ingrain this in people's heads, like when people want to know on how to get an apprenticeship, because they're like, oh, why did you learn how to do this? How did you get started? I'm like, well, there's a lot I can tell you, and one of them is learning about the color wheel. So please learn that. Just having basic art knowledge helps. And you can get this information anywhere on YouTube. Go to Google, you will get similar results. And this will help you out, especially with your art, substantially, because some things in the art world require a little bit of patience. Like realism, you have to make sure you know where your highlights are, just like where the light is bouncing off, and just where your shadows are, because some areas can create a little darker areas around here or here, depending on how you move your head and where the light source is at. So that's why you have to really know that. And I get tired to explain this because it's like, oh my god, please. Some of the art that I have seen on tattoos is so flat, there is no dynamic, and it just makes me so mad. But sometimes flat is also an okay art style too. Just like with traditional tattoos, sometimes you have different codes compared to realism. Realism is a whole nother ballgame. I'm not going to get into it. You can learn that on your own. You don't need to know that quite yet. Do you have to have all of your supplies to be a tattoo artist? No, you do not. You do not have to have your machines. You do not have to have anything ready. Just be willing to learn when you first get your apprenticeship. Your artist that is teaching you will tell you when it's okay, because they don't want to see you go to Amazon and buy a tattoo machine just to specifically work on yourself. That's not how it goes. 9 times out of 10, if you do get a machine from Amazon, the only time I would suggest doing that is if you are working on grapefruit, bananas, or anything like an orange that has a tough skin, so you can learn how to apply stencils onto that and learn how to get your needle depth right. But most of the time, people that want to be a tattoo artist or want to learn an apprenticeship already dive in and go onto their skin, and then you get a nasty blowout, which is going to be on you forever. Blowouts are a part of tattoos, but I'm just saying, when you're young and or just starting out, I don't want you to mess up your skin. I want you to make sure that you have respect for the machine first, respect for the artist first, then you can respect the talent of tattooing. It's just one of those things. Be very mindful. Do not go on Amazon. I swear to God, if you go on Amazon, I will hunt you down. Kidding. I will not do that, because that is a lot of effort and I don't have that time. But I will give you the discerning look of your mother and be like, no, stop it. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, and I swear to God, if you go to Amazon, please don't. I do not recommend that. Words of wisdom, if you want to live by them, great. If you don't, I'm sorry, I'm upset with you. But please continue. Please work on fruit instead of yourself. Just learn to respect the machine and learn to respect on how to do things, just not hurting yourself. I'm just trying to be silly, but at the same time, I'm also kind of being serious. Please respect the machine, respect your body. Do not tattoo yourself unless you are given the A-OK from your tattoo artist. So now that you have your portfolio together and you have the understanding of respecting a tattoo machine and not doing it on yourself quite yet, not yet, just wait a very long time, there comes a very important part when it comes to maintaining and keeping your business good and keeping it at a pretty consistent pace of where you're not going to be financially broke. Before you leave your job, I'm looking at you, stop it, don't lose your job. First off, keep your main job so you have that extra income when you are getting an apprenticeship to actually maintain your livelihood. Like, eating is good for you, food is good, like that's really important for our bodies to stay alive. Making sure you have a place to live, rent is important, bills are important, and just making sure that your overall well-being is okay, especially when dealing with insurance. When I first started, I did not think about insurance because I was like, okay, that's totally alright, I should be fine. No, you should have insurance. Insurance is actually really good for you, especially if you're in a country that tells you that you need it. Your job is important, your livelihood is important, and then also learning is important. But make sure you always put yourself first and keep your health in check, because that's way important. As a tattoo artist, you are not going to have insurance. You will have to go out of your way to find insurance. I am not 100% tech savvy on that. However, I do know if you go to the government website, you should have a marketplace of where to get your insurance. I highly recommend taking your time looking at that site and looking at all the insurance that you can buy, because nowadays you have to buy insurance. If you're with a company, it's different. It's one of those things where if you work for a company, you don't have to worry about that. I don't know if some tattoo shops do have that. I have not heard of one yet that has insurance already lined up just in case. I have not heard of that, so please keep your jobs if you do have insurance, especially if you're working in the States. States are very harsh and critical on that. Is it required to have insurance while you're a tattoo artist? No. But is it good for you? Yes, just in case you get the little accidental poke from a tattoo machine and you're working on a client, because that's not good. You could also get some bloodborne pathogens that are not good for you, so make sure you have insurance. And make sure to have some money tucked away, especially when you're first learning. You're just a little baby in the nest and you need to learn how to kind of take care of yourself. So make sure you put some money in your little stash away in your bank, wherever you put it, and don't touch it unless it's necessary for one, you need it for bills, you need it for emergency purposes, or you need it for tattoo supplies. That's it. You just want to make sure that you are covered on both ends. Having that balance between your main job and your apprenticeship, it should be an equal balance, if not more. Your main job should be the main center until you are ready to leave your job for your full-on tattoo artist career, which could take up to 6 months to almost a year. I highly suggest hanging on to your job for a whole solid year before you dive right into being a full-blown tattoo artist, because you will never make enough money that first year. Usually, statistically, 1 to 3 years, you're not going to make anything. It's just one of those things that you need to make sure that you have enough put away. If anything, try having 3 years solid of having a full-time job, or at least 75% of your job is your main job, and then go into being a tattoo artist on your own. However, to each their own, you have to take care of your own finances. I can't take care of that for you. These are just ideas that may help you along the way. Now, when we're talking about important stuff like insurance, we also have to talk about taxes. I don't have any huge background on taxes, except for the fact that you have to document everything. Literally document everything that you spend on, whether it's gas, whether it's overspending on a restaurant, which you probably shouldn't do. If you're with your coworkers, you should probably make sure that you have receipts of everything, because that may help you out, especially around tax time. If you talk to your tax advisor, you can get a lot of stuff back, possibly as in I can't promise, but if you do have receipts, those are important. And just having documentation, so if you get audited in 7 years or however many years people check, I don't know what the IRS does, I really don't know, but it's good to be safe. And I want you to be safe financially. I want you to be safe, especially when you are going into tattooing. It is a huge free-for-all. You could probably fuck yourself over. Sorry, you really could. And that's why I'm telling you to document everything and make sure that you have a book. You keep it with you for 7 years. Don't lose it. And just be really, really good about documenting everything. Whether it's tattoo supplies, like I said, restaurants and gas and all that stuff, because it's going to be important. Also, it probably wouldn't hurt to actually have someone that knows taxes to kind of talk to your tax advisor to make sure they can help you out with that. So make sure you have someone that knows their stuff and they can help you along the way to keep those all sorted, all your ducks in a row. The next part is to find a tattoo shop. Do not just jump to the first one that you see, and don't go for the first one that offers you an apprenticeship. You are so antsy to get in, they know it. These tattoo artists are sharks, and they know how to sniff out the weak, and they know how to sniff out the guppies. Don't be a guppy, be a shark. They just know that they can smell you if you're fearful, or not fearful. I should say when you're anticipating that, yes, I want a tattoo apprenticeship, I will do anything, I will worship your feet. Please don't. I swear to God, if you do jump into the first one, it is not going to be good, and you're going to be dipping out. Or you could be like a little guppy. Don't. Metaphorically speaking. Just try not to give in to the sharks quite yet. Also, don't move for a tattoo shop. If there is a tattoo shop in Texas or California or wherever that you're like, oh my God, I would love to move there, but you have to quit your job or you have to move, please don't. Make sure if you do move, that you have the backup plan, so if things go wrong, you can either go back or you can start your new life in this new state. Whatever it is, just make sure that you're very, very well covered, because it could end really badly if it doesn't work out. I remember when I first started, I literally went to the first shop that decided, oh, yay, work for us. That was a mistake. However, I am thankful for it now. Just please try to save yourself the stress and anxiety of doing that. Go to the job that is wanting to work with you and not just a first priority. Most shops around the area when I first started were very selective, so me getting in was a huge bonus because I was excited. That was dumb, don't worry. The second part was because there's that many tattoo shops around. Either work for the big guy in town and you work for this person here. there's only 2 or 3 other shops at that time. Now there's a lot more, and there's a little bit more pickings because the city has gotten a lot bigger. But try to expand yourself a little bit more. Try to go to the bigger cities. Try to find the other shops because you'll have more opportunities compared to a smaller city. Big cities, more opportunities. Smaller cities, I don't know, it's kind of hit or miss. So just be very careful. Do your research. Look at their portfolios. Maybe schedule a tattoo with them. Maybe schedule like a little consultation and see where, see how things are. Is the place clean? Check the bathroom. Check the floors. Is the toilet clean? I know, it's weird, but trust me, you don't want your artist going to the bathroom and the bathroom is dirty and they end up tattooing on you, especially from a dirty environment. Make sure that there's like no dust. Make sure it's well cleaned. Make sure the floors are mopped. Make sure the window, like, you kind of have to be your own health inspector, and make sure the trash bins, this is a huge thing. I know it's just a trash bin, but if they have a lid on top or it's secured in some way, kudos. If it's not secured, is it at least clean around the area? Do they at least like make sure to change the bags a lot and make sure that it's not just overstuffed and overflowing? Like, do they actually have it all cleaned up? You kind of have to look at that. Make sure that everything is clean, spotless. Doesn't have to be super like overly clean, but clean is good. You don't want to be having somebody that's dirty, like their shop is dirty, and they work on you and you're like, oh, this environment is very dusty, or you're just seeing there's weird marks on the windows and like the floors are not clean, they're all dirty. So be in a clean environment. Also, these might be your duties too. So if they want an apprentice and they know their shop is dirty and they know that you don't know, you're gonna be screwed cleaning all that up. You're gonna be basically their clean mate the entire time. Nobody wants to be a duster all the time, so please make sure that the shop is clean. Also, for distance, you don't want to be traveling so long just to make sure that you have this apprenticeship, because gas is going to be a huge factor and getting to your other job is a huge factor. So try to cut that down just a little smudge. I say the max is like an hour is okay, but even then, if it goes past 45 minutes, you're gonna have to worry about that driving in the morning and after, or in between into your work. So make sure to like take in accountability and the environment. If it's snowing a lot where you live, you're gonna have to drive through the snow. Count more time before you can actually get back in to the shop. So having to drive an extra 20 minutes in the morning, I don't know. You tell me. Alright, so my video may have kind of like cut off a little bit because of time, but I wanted to say a few things. Make sure you keep up to date with your state boards or like your state license, because that's going to be super important. Don't just go on there right away just to say that you're a tattoo artist. It does not work like that. People will know ASAP. And of course you need to work with a shop in order to get one. So at least from my knowledge, you don't have to at some point. Like certain states have certain requirements that are different. Just going off of what I know, not suggesting or like telling you, recommending this. But make sure to always be safe and make sure to always take an accountability of what you want. Don't sign any contracts unless you know 100% this is something you want to do. Some places require deposit. If you do, make sure you get that written in stone that this is what you want. Make sure you have a contract with them. Make sure you collect your receipts. I don't recommend signing anything. I suggest trying to find a shop that is free trade. So if you want to learn how to tattoo, that you can give something in return. By giving in return, I mean like cleaning their shop in exchange for their knowledge, or doing something for them like going to get them coffee every morning, or even just little things like that. Maybe be a receptionist for a while. That's always another bonus. There's a lot of ways that you can make it work with a tattoo shop on how you want to be a tattoo apprentice and learn what they know. Last but not least, I am just telling you everything that I know as a way of, hey, here's some advice, take it or leave it. I'm not telling you like you should do this. If this is something that you want to do particularly, go do it. I'm just giving you my experience so I can tell you what it's like. And yes, it's not all glitz and glam. There's some days where it's like, oh my god, this is like really depressing. It shouldn't be like that, but some days you're gonna have clients, some days you're not. So have fun. Try not to tattoo on yourself right away. Wait until you have the tattoo artist that is teaching you that it's a-okay, and have a good time. I'm sure there's a lot more I missed out, so please leave it in the comment section below. Tell me your stories. Tell me if you're already a tattoo artist or apprenticeship, teach these other people and let them know what you think and what are some advantages, disadvantages, what they should know before they even start their journey. So hope you all have a great afternoon, morning, or wherever you are. Sorry, the lights are so blinding in my eyes right now, so it's like, But hope you all have a great night. Thank you all so much. Please be sure to subscribe. It really helps out a lot and helps me maintain these videos up. So thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.